Don't you wanna tell me if you're gonna put down your armor? Promise no more drama. Clap my hands, I say I'm not Dalai Lama. Clap my hands, say I'm not all drama.
Hey, what's up guys, it is Sykoo Sam here and welcome back to the channel. And in this episode of C# tutorials in Unity, we're going to be taking a look at how to create a grappling hook, and by the end of this video, we are hopefully going to have a finished grappling hook that we can use with features such as shooting and returning the hook to the player, moving the player towards the hook obviously, and a player climbing up kind of on the platform that we are hooking onto so that it doesn't, bug out and fall down off the platform right off the bat. So with that being said guys, hope you enjoyed the video. If you do, make sure to hit that thumbs up button down below. Thumbs up button, there we go. Leave a like, it's really appreciated, and subscribe if you want to stay up to tune for new videos like this, and also leave a comment stating what you think if you have any questions and such. And with that being said, let's go right into it guys. So as you can see here, we have a pretty basic scene to begin with. I am going to walk you through the scene real quick actually. So we have a directional light, we have a ground, which is basically just a plane that is scaled up a little bit, and a custom material that I created. Nothing too fancy really, it's just to play around with the colors. Then we have our grappling hook folder in order to keep it a little bit more aligned and organized inside of our project. You don't need to have this folder. We also have a scripts folder, which is going to be where I look at all the scripts. Once again, that's for kind of just organizing, or just organizing this project really, because this is the general project that I use for this tutorial series. But now we are going to go ahead and create a new C# script inside of our scripts folder. And we can call this one grappling hook. There we go. And we're gonna have another one. Let's see. There we go. And we can call this one hook detector. All right. And something very easy here, or like a pro with using this system, is the fact that you can use any kind of player movement system you want to. So, in fact, I am going to use the rigid body FPS controller that is given to us for free by the fantastic Unity team. So we're gonna go ahead and use this one. Let me see and make sure that the capsule collider, like at this point you're playing like a midget character when you have the collision height set to such low amount. So we're just gonna increase that a little bit. The rigid body FPS controller, I can actually rename it to player. There we go. And we can also tag it as player. Cool. Now we are gonna go ahead and create a new cube here. And we can call this hook holder. The purpose of this object is basically literally what it states in the name. So the clue is in the name. It's just going to hold our hook for us. Meanwhile, it's not being used. If it is being used, obviously we're going to move it outside of it. But when it's not being used, this is going to be like the pocket that is going to contain the hook itself. So let's see. Yeah, we can actually leave the tag be like that. We can also make sure that it's trigger checked as is trigger. And we can remove the mesh filter. We can also remove the mesh render. There we go, because we don't really need a mesh on this. Now we're gonna add a sphere to our scene, which is going to resemble the hook itself. Now, fun fact, I was actually planning to have a hook object, but I didn't find anything free on the asset store, so I was too lazy to buy something too. So ad revenue, boys, ad revenue. It's a problem. Financial difficulties on YouTube. But yeah, we're just gonna go with a sphere. You can use any kind of model you want if you have your own model, or if you have purchase or whatever. So it doesn't really matter for you, but neither does it for me. Like I'm fine with using a sphere. It just looks poor, but it looks basic, but it's good. The principle behind it is good. It's about the message, right? And we can actually rename the sphere to hook. And let's go ahead and drag it into our hook holder as well, and set the position in X to 0. And also in Z, also in Y, in case you have a different value there. I did not, so I don't really bother about that. Now, we are actually gonna do the same with hook holders. So meanwhile, it's the child of our main camera. We are gonna set the position to 0, and we're gonna move it forward just a little bit. There we go. So that we can see the hook. And as you can see, the hook here is pretty big, so we are gonna rescale it a little bit and make it slightly smaller. There we go. And we can actually, I did not mean to do that. We can tag this as hook2. Now you're not gonna have a hook tag here. I added this before making the video for testing purposes, but you basically click on add tag and then click this plus icon and then just name it hook basically. We also have one called hookable, but we're not gonna get into it right now, but we are gonna do it soon, so don't worry about that. But yeah, just tag this as hook, and right off the bat we can also add a component to this and call it hook detector, like the one that we created a little bit earlier in this video. So this is basically going to be the one that is going to check if this hook is triggering with a hookable object, where the hookable tag is also going to matter. But to begin with, very easily, we are going to go ahead and open up grappling hook script that we created, the first script that we created. And inside of this, we're going to have a few variables. So first and foremost, we can say public game object hook, which is going to be the hook itself. I literally punched my microphone pop filter once again. I do this in every video at this point. It's not even funny. So we're going to have another one and call it game object hook holder. There we go. Maybe I can zoom in a little bit. Let me know in the comments if you think this zoom is good enough. Like, I don't know how much I should zoom, but this is even too much for me. But you know, your opinions matter more than mine here. So we're gonna have a public float hook travel speed, and we're gonna have a public float player travel speed. So hook travel speed is going to be used in order to pretty much just define how fast the hook is going to fly when we fire it, and the player travel speed is going to be the speed that the player is going to move at, pretty much the speed the player is going to move at when we actually hook to a object. And we can actually, speaking of which, like fired and stuff, we are going to have a public static, yeah, we can call it hooked, and also public static bool fired. Oh, I forgot public static bool. There we go. Alright, so 2 booleans, and that is pretty much it. So we're gonna go ahead and add, yeah, you know what, we can actually have a couple more, and these ones are going to be public float max distance, which is for the hook to travel. And we can also have a public static, maybe even private float current distance, which is going to be the dynamic float that we are going to detect how much the hook has actually traveled before it reaches, oh god, the voice crack right there, before it kind of reaches this max distance. So that is pretty much it. Now we're gonna have a void update, and inside of this we're gonna first and foremost throw in a comment to say shooting or firing the hook, and we're gonna say if input.get mouse button down 0, not plus 0, there we go. And we can also say if input.get mouse button 0 and if fired equal to false, so that we don't refire it while it's already fired, because if we do fire it once, we're not gonna have the hook in our hands. So what are we firing, right? So we want to first repel the hook if we have fired, which we're gonna get into soon. But for now, we are basically making sure that all the rules are, you know, fair enough, and we don't bug out the game. And if we do, you know, fire the hook successfully, then we obviously want to move it. So we're gonna set fired equal to true. In fact, we can actually remove these 2 brackets, and we can now say if fired equal to true. There we go. And then we are going to first and foremost obviously move the hook towards the kind of spot that we have aimed with the mouse. So we're gonna say hook.transform.translate vector3.move towards vector3.forward. I'm sorry. We can time it by time.delta-time timed by hook travel speed. There we go. And we obviously also want to, you know, kind of like calculate the distance between the hook and the player to ensure that the hook doesn't fly off the map, so that we don't bug it out. Because if we, you know, make the hook travel, you know, inside of a zone, we want to make sure that it doesn't kind of like fly off, right? We want to have like a constraint for it. So we can say, what was it was current distance. There we go. Current distance equal to vector3 dot distance. which is a beautiful function you can actually use that is ready inside of Unity. And we're gonna set the distance to be starting from transform position, which is basically this game object, which is the player, and maximum it's going to calculate the distance between the player and the hook.transform position. There we go. So it's going to calculate the position between these two, or the distance between these two. So after that, we also want to ensure that we can repel the hooks. So we can say if input, or actually, you know what? We can say if current distance is lower than or equal to, oh no, sorry, current distance greater than or equal to max distance. There we go. Because obviously if it, you know, goes above that, we could actually remove these two brackets and just say return hook. There we go. And we can have a new void called return hook. There we go. And this one is going to be fairly obvious and fairly basic. We're just gonna set the hook.transform.position to be equal to hook holder.transform.position. And we can also set fired equal to false and hooked equal to false upon returning the hook, because we obviously don't want them to keep stationary. So yeah, that is pretty much it. We are now returning the hook in case it does travel further than the maximum distance that we set inside of the inspector. Speaking of which, we can actually go ahead and do so. We can go to our player. Did I not add the component? I actually forgot. So we're gonna add a grappling hook script to the player. And for our hook holder, we are obviously gonna assign the hook holder, the hook inside of the hook field. Hook travel speed, maybe we can have it like 5. I don't know if it's too fast, if it's too slow, but we can test it out from there. Player travel speed, same thing with that, kind of like 3, I guess. I don't know, it's really about trying and seeing how it actually works for your specific game. Max distance, I think 20 should be good enough. That should be fairly good. We can actually go ahead and try it in Unity too, and just, oh, it travels backwards. The reason is very simple, because we basically have the rotation of the hook holder to be set to minus 180. We just want to set this to 0, and it's going to be a fix. So let's go ahead and fire the hook here and see. Oh, that is very slow actually. Yeah, good. So it returns. It does a favor, you know. But we're gonna increase those numbers. So hook travel speed maybe 15, player travel speed perhaps like 10, I guess. We should just really try it real quick here. Yeah, there we go. Now we're talking. All right, good. That is actually a lot better. So now for the hooking part itself, which is the most intriguing. All right. The most exciting part. There we go. Basic English is rocking here. For the most exciting part, we are obviously going to be able to hook now to a object of our own will. So we just created a new 3D cube here, and we are going to add a new box collider to this bad boy. We could actually increase the size of it to be, or the collision size to be 1.05, I think. I tried with 1.1 once and it was very big. Yeah, as you can see, 1.05 is actually almost perfect. So we can set the same on y-axis and z-axis. There we go. Not 10. 1.05. There we go. There we go. Also make sure to check is trigger. Now, exciting, I know, but we are gonna check the tag, or like kind of change the tag of this to be hookable. Speaking of which, we can also call this hookable object. There we go. Just very easily. And now we are gonna go ahead and open up our hook detector script, which is attached to the hook object itself. If you don't have it on your hook object yet, you probably did not follow the beginning of this video, but it's not very important, just go ahead and do so. But yeah, that is pretty much it. So we can now say, actually, you know what, we're gonna jump right into it and say void on trigger enter collider other. This is going to be a fairly simple script. We're just basically gonna check if the hook is colliding with the hookable object or a hookable object. So we're gonna say if other.tag equal to hookable. Basically, the hook is triggering with a hookable object. Then we're gonna change the hooked boolean of the player, but we need to make sure that it's actually just public, because if we have it as public static, the security or the security of the variable is not actually going to allow us to use it from another script. So we could actually have a public game object player, and now here we are gonna say player.getComponent grappling hook, which is the main script for the hook. Then we can say hooked equal to true. All right, and there we go. That should pretty much be it. Now we can go back to grappling hook, and if fired equal to true. Maybe we can just have a brand new if statement here. If hooked equal to true, then we're gonna obviously start moving the player towards the hook. So we're gonna say transform that position, which is the player, equal to vector3.move towards transform that position, which is the starting position, towards the hook.transform that position. And we can also say that we're gonna move towards at the speed of player travel speed. I think it was called, right? Yeah, it was actually right. Nice. We are also gonna change the current distance here, but the problem is we don't want to play with current distance variable because it is already being used while it's fired. So we can just simply say float distance to hook equal to just vector3.distance, transform that position, and maximum to hook.transform that position. There we go. That is very, very simple. It's basically just calculating the distance between this object, the player, and the hook, just like we do with current distance, but we don't want to reuse that variable because it's already being used, so why would you want to bother with that? So we're just creating a new float that is called distance to hook. Now, we can have a if statement here. If distance to hook lower than, distance to hook, there we go. A capital T is very important. Distance to hook is lower than 1, then we're gonna return hook, because that means the player is close enough to the platform. Oh yeah, by the way, we forgot one thing actually. Let's do that real quick. If fired equal to true, we are gonna move, but we also want to make sure how should we do this? Yeah, we can actually just say and hooked equal to false. Oh, there you go. So basically we're saying if fired equal to true, we have fired, but we also want to make sure to check if hooked equal to false, because if it is true, we have hooked to a object, we want the hook to stop from traveling. If it is not true, or if it is true, if it is not true. Oh yeah, by the way, we can do it like that. There we go. Alright, so while it's hooked, it's not going to travel. While it's not hooked, it is going to travel until it hooks or basically reaches the maximum distance. So we have two simple rules for our game to follow. If it is hooked, then obviously we are going to start moving our player, and we can actually test it out real quick to ensure everything is working before we actually continue with the script. This is actually going to be a big part of this too. Oh yeah, I think I actually know why it's not working. So we have sphere collider. We want to make sure that it's trigger. We also want to add a rigid body to our hook because that is required for the collision to work perfectly fine. We also want to uncheck the use gravity because we don't really want to do that. And we can also check is kinematic so that it's very stationary, but like unless we actually tell it to not be from the script. But let's see why. Oh, I see. I think that might be it. There we go. We did not just go ahead and assign the player inside of the hook detector script from your inspector. So let's see how that works. Did it just destroy? Oh, okay. So it. Oh, okay. Wow, that was actually really, really drastic. I think I know the probably here. Yeah. So hook.transform that. No. Here. Transform that position equal to vector3. We want to time that by player travel speed. We want to time that by time.delta time. which means we're gonna move every second instead of doing it at once. I just snapped my fingers, I don't know why. Felt so cringy, but there we go. But now we have a rigid body that is assigned to our player, so we want to disable that upon hooking to a object. We can go ahead and do like this: hooked equal to true. We want to do like this. We can just say this dot get component rigid body. There we go, and use gravity equal to false. There we go, and we can also perhaps set else. Basically, if we aren't hooked to anything, we're gonna enable we're pretty much just gonna enable gravity. So we can copy this. I'm gonna go lazy, but I still suggest you guys, like always in my tutorial videos, to rewrite the code by yourself to ensure that you learn the code as well. So upon hooking, now the gravity should be disabled for our player, which it is. But for some reason, the hook is still traveling. It's traveling unlimited. However, I did see something rather suspicious. Huh? It starts traveling so early. Am I seeing things? Hold on, let me actually try this one more time. Upon hooking to the object, or while we are actually hooked, we could simply set the hook to be a child of the platform that we are hooked to. And while we're not hooked, obviously we're gonna set it to be false. So one very easy thing we can actually do here is, we can actually have like this: public bool hooked, and we can have public game object hooked object. There we go. Hooked OBJ basically means hooked object. It's like a shortening of that. So we're gonna say if instead of our hook detector, when we are actually colliding with the object, the hook is colliding with the object, we want to set the we want to first and foremost say get component from player grappling hook, and from that component we are gonna get the variable hooked object, which we created, and set it to be other.game object. All right. And while we are hooked, so here, while we are hooked, we want to ensure to set the first and foremost, like this should be the first thing we ever do to ensure that nothing is bugged out. So we are going to set the hook.transform.parent equal to the hooked object.transform. There we go. And while we are not hooked, so else, we could actually do that first too. We are gonna set the hook.transform.parent equal to hookholder.transform. Literally the same but different game objects. So we can test this out to ensure once again that it works perfectly fine. Let's see this now. All right, there we go. There we go. That's actually really good. So as you can see, it obviously returns to the player upon colliding to. Oh, the rotation was a little bit messed up. I wonder if the rotation, I think the rotation for, you know what? We can actually do like this: return hook, hook.transform, yes. We can actually, you know what? We can just set hook.transform.rotation equal to hookholder.transform.rotation. There we go. Maybe, I don't think that we need a local rotation for that. If we do, I might change it up, but I don't think that it should be needed. Yeah, I think this is actually fine. Let's try it one more time. Oh, whoa. Okay, so it's a little bit buggy. Maybe we can say distance to hook is going to be 2 instead. And let's try that out. Let's see if that works any better. Boom, we shoot. Alright, that's a lot better actually. So, bam. Cool. The rotation seems to be fixed as well. Yeah, the rotation is fixed. Alright, good. Good. Let's see here. Now, when we do hook, obviously the player doesn't climb up, so we're gonna fix that now. When we are hooked, we want to see if we are first and foremost grounded with the player. So what we can do in order to fix that is basically first and foremost add a private bool grounded, and yeah, we can actually have a void here called check ground. Maybe even check ground. I don't know what the name is. Check if grounded. Very, very specific, but I like it. I like it. It's a lot more descriptive, and I like descriptive things because you guys are trying to learn here. So we're gonna check if grounded, and we are going to throw a ray downwards with vector3.down in order to check if we have a ground underneath us, but within a specific distance. Now, checking for ground is actually very simple. So we're just simply gonna say, first and foremost, create the raycast hit. So we're gonna say raycast hit, which is going to be the hit point for the raycast, which is going to be the initial detector in case we have a ground underneath us. Like I said, we're gonna have a distance for this, so we can set float distance to be 1f, pretty easy. We're also gonna have a vector3 direction. Maybe we can call it dir in order to have it shortened to make sure that it doesn't, you know, kind of like interfere with any other function or a variable that is created by Unity. Then we're gonna set it to be equal to new vector3 0 in x-axis and -1 in y-axis to make sure that it's moving downwards, like I said. So there we go. Now we're gonna have a if statement and say if physics.raycast transform.position, which is the starting position, and direction, which is going to be the direction the vector is going to move, out hit, which is going to detect if we are hitting with the raycast, and finally within distance, specifically, I think I forgot a parenthesis there. There we go. Then we are going to say grounded equal to true. Now we can say else. Oh my god, I hate this so much. There we go. If it is, you know, if that's not the case, grounded equal to false. There we go. Now we are checking for grounded, but we also need to make sure that we can climb with our player. So basically where we are actually pulling the player, return to hook. We could actually change this out. So if distance to hook is lower than 2, then we are going to start a climbing process, which is going to automatically be done by the player. So we're gonna say, first and foremost, we can check if grounded equal to false. So if we are not grounded, obviously we wanna move upwards and forward with our player to ensure that we do climb up that platform. And we could actually, whatever, we can leave it as 2 for now. You know what, actually, we're gonna change it to 1. Distance to hook, we're gonna change it to 1 for now. If it doesn't work that way, just change it to 2. To 2. That's very easy. So now if we are not grounded, we obviously want to say this transform dot translate. Oh wait, this dot transform dot translate vector3 dot forward times time delta time time by 7f. Let's say it like that. And we also want to say that we are going to move upwards. So transform dot translate vector3 dot up time by time delta time by, should we say 7? 10f maybe? We can try that. That should be a better kind of way of doing it. Now we are actually going to use a I enumerator as well. That's like the second time I say that name perfectly. I hope it's perfect. I think it's perfect, and I'm glad. Okay, as long as I think so, that's what really matters. Now we're gonna say start coroutine. We can name it climb. And speaking of which, we are going to have an I enumerator. Oh my god, it's just like a, oh my god, it feels so good to say that, I enumerator. Like Unity, thank you for choosing that. Now we could actually just say I enumerator. Oh my god, climb. Can we make that can we turn that into a meme? We're gonna first and foremost yield return new wait 4 seconds. We're gonna give the player like 0.1 f seconds, so 0.1 seconds, and then after that we are actually gonna You know what? We could actually just say, yeah, return hook. There we go. I was gonna do something even more, but I don't think we need that because we are literally doing it here anyway. So we're basically now giving the player a little bit of time to climb up that platform that, you know, he's trying to climb up on. So let's see. Boom. Oh, let me check. I need to see it visually too, or we need to see it. You have to see it as well in order to understand how much you actually have to play with the values. The boom. All right. It doesn't really move that much up, right? If you fire it too, yeah. So if we, okay, so it's pretty much. Oh, I found a bug, guys. I found a bug. When you haven't fired yet, it's still, you know, doing like, it's kind of like still hooking to the object because we don't have a rule. So we can say if hooked equal to true and fired equal to true. Basically, that will fix it. But now for the other part, we want to move the player upwards by, I don't know, 15, and forward by 10. Okay. We can go ahead and try that in Unity. Now this is the part where you actually have to try every value by yourself. I don't mean every value like literally every value, but everything you think might be suitable. Okay, so that's not enough. But which is fine because that was literally the bottom part. Okay, so that's fine. Now we're climbing up at least. If I fire, oh whoa. No, that was underneath. Right. Let's try in middle. I'm gonna try a line of that. That was not really the middle, but yeah, we can maybe have it a little. Yeah. We actually need it forward a little bit more. Let me do it like this. We're gonna move forward by 13 and up by 17. 18. You know what? We're gonna go with 18. Let's try this again and see and make sure that it's working. That's working. As you can see now, we trigger with the hook, but it doesn't, you know, bug out. Good. Boom. All right, that's actually really good. I'm satisfied with this. All right, cool. Let's see. Boom. Cool. That's actually really, really nice. So that is done. Now, before we do end this episode here, I actually want to. Yeah, you know what? Let's go ahead and add a rope to our player, or to the hook itself as well. So we're gonna do like this. We're gonna add a line renderer to our hook object, and let's see, positions. All right, so we're gonna have two different positions. Oh yeah, we're gonna have to set that by code. Cast shadows. All right. Materials. We can just kind of have a very simple material of like gray, or a kind of default material basically. Corner verticals, width, we can set it to be 1, it doesn't really matter. Yeah, pretty much it. So let's go ahead and check or set a start position to this. So wait, what was it actually called? Positions. All right, I think that's pretty much the name we're gonna have to use anyway, so it doesn't really matter. We can go ahead and do like this. Yeah, we want to have it in fired, like just generally. So we can say if fired, then we're gonna set the, we can first and foremost get the components. So we can say line renderer LR, which is a shortening for line, or maybe just rope, equal to get component line renderer. There we go. Now for the line renderer, obviously we're gonna set the position from the rope first and foremost to be starting from this position to the ending position, which is going to be basically, we can pretty much say rope.set position, I think it was. Yeah, it actually is. Wow, I was trying to guess it out, but yeah. So we can set the to be 0, which is the starting element, so element 0, which is the starting position, to be hook holder transform that position. There we go. And root, let's see, position. That's not right. Position. There we go. Wow. And then we're gonna have another and say rope.set position. Oh my god, set position. There we go. And this is going to be element 1 because this is going to be the other end. And this is going to end at the hook.transform.position. There we go. So basically a rope is going to be spawned starting from hook holder ending at hook itself. So let's see how this goes. Let's see. Line render attached to the player game object. Oh, hold on, my bad. I forgot to do. You know what? I don't know why we're having. Whatever. We can just say hook dot get component. There we go. That should be good enough because the hook object is the one that has the line rendered. So yeah, there we go. That's a huge rope right there. That is a huge rope. Fixing the width is very easy. You just change it to open 2. I think. I'm just guessing with the value, but once again, you just have to find something that fits your game. There we go. That is actually pretty cool. Now, while it's not fired, we don't want to have a rope. It's like you saw, it kind of bugs out when we haven't fired. Or have fired and then not have fired, you know. Like return the hook. So, you know what? I don't know why we're doing this. We can just have this inside of... let me copy this. There we go. Return hook. We are going to do like this. There we go. I was trying to like change the position of these two, but I remember there's actually a very simple function you can use. So you can just say rope dot set vertex count and set it to be 0, which is going to essentially kind of like destroy or erase the two starting positions for the rope itself. So as you can see, there's no rope anymore. Now we can hook one more time and such, but you know, the rope gets destroyed upon pretty much doing that. But I also realized first and foremost now, let's see here, the rope set vertex count. All right, this is actually changing something else, right? I think so, because there is something weird going on with this. Oh yeah, it's setting the positions to be 0 overall. Basically, what you want to do in that case is you want to go ahead and do like this. Where did we set the position? There we go. So we want to say rope.set vertex count to be 2. There we go. And then it's going to set the positions of that automatically. So upon firing, boom, that happens, it destroys. But now when we fire again, obviously it's going to do like that, which is pretty good. This is working, so this is really, really nice. All right, that is pretty much it for this video, guys. Hope you all enjoyed. This is a fully functional grappling hook you can use for your commercial projects. I love saying those kinds of things because people are like, oh my god, do I have to credit you? Like, have to? Probably not, but you know, if you want to, I mean, you can hit me up, bro. But yeah, that is pretty much it, guys. Hope you all enjoyed this little, I'm not even gonna say little, I think we're over 30 minutes. I can't see my timer, but yeah, like I said, hope you all enjoyed this short, in quotation marks or quote marks, tutorial video in Unity. If you did enjoy and found it helpful, make sure to leave a like. It's super appreciated. I really am going to be able to obviously see what you guys want to see more of and what you want to see less of, so make sure to hit that thumbs up button to show some support and drop a like, and also subscribe if you want to see more of these kinds of videos. And let me know in the comments if you have any questions, if you have any feedback, or if you just, you know, want to kind of like suggest me anything else to cover up in these tutorials, because obviously I'm all down for feedback and suggestions and all that kind of stuff. So I'm all ears. Let me know in the comments. And with that being said, guys, once again, thank you so much for watching. We're currently running a giveaway at our Discord server, so make sure to join there. We're having a lot of fun besides the giveaway too, so you're gonna find a lot of like-minded people you might want to work together with and just maybe even hang around with. So yeah. Hope you all enjoyed. I'll see you in the comments or in the Discord server. See you guys. Peace out.